Hello, a very good evening. Welcome to tonight's edition of the News of 6 live and direct from our studios on the 10th Avenue Extension, Greater Estate, Nungwa, Adugono. The news is also live across our social media handles on MBN 360. My name is El Samuels. We'll first take a look at the headlines.
We will take hard decisions to end Accra's perennial flooding, President Mahama declares. In business, GSS targets mid-2027 rollout of rebasing of GDP and inflation data. And on the international front, manhunt underway in South Africa after 12 killed in Johannesburg mass shooting.
So this and many other stories coming up in the next 30 minutes from our studios here. We begin from the seat of presidency, where the President John Dramani Mahama has pledged firm and sometimes difficult policy decisions to permanently address the reoccurring flooding problems in Accra, warning the situation can be longer but be treated with temporal fixes.
President John Dramani Mahama says government will adopt tougher and more strategic interventions to tackle the perennial flooding challenges affecting Accra and other urban centers. Speaking on the worsening impact of heavy rains on communities, roads, and infrastructure, the president acknowledged that flooding has become a recurring national concern, particularly in low-lying and densely populated areas of the capital. He stressed that the time has come for hard decisions, including stronger enforcement of planning regulations, improved drainage infrastructure, and stricter control of construction in waterways and flood-prone zones. The president indicated that short-term responses such as the stilting drains and emergency relief will continue, but emphasized that long-term solutions will require political will, institutional coordination, and public cooperation. Urban planning experts have long warned that rapid urbanization, poor drainage systems, and encroachment on waterways are major contributors to Accra's flooding crisis. Government is expected to roll out a more comprehensive flood management strategy, focusing on infrastructure upgrades and environmental enforcement measures. Authorities say the goal is to move from recurring disaster response to a sustainable flood prevention system that protects lives and property across the capital.
It's also partly the fault of those who sell those lands. Those lands are not supposed to be sold. And then also partly the fault of our assemblies and the officers who grant the permits. If anybody brings a house that you know is in a restricted area, which is a waterway, it's not supposed to be sold. And so you should not sign the permit for them to build. But some of the houses have building permits. How did they get them? So we have to do some soul searching. And I think government must be firm in doing what it has to do in order that we stop this perennial flood issue. We shouldn't be like the vulture who says he will repair his roof when the rain stops. When the rain stops, then we forget about it. The vulture forgets until the next rain comes, and he promises again to repair the roof. This time, if we repair the roof, we have to really work and repair it. Incidentally, this year too, the rains have been unusually heavy, and that is why we're seeing the extent of flooding that we're seeing. In other years, the rainfall is not as heavy. And so I've directed a task force, NADMO and all the others, to do a presentation to us. We're going to identify all the restricted waterways. And when they have done that, I'm giving the directive that they should go ahead and do what they have to do. And I hope that when we do that, all Ghanaians would understand that it is government's business to protect the safety of all of us.
Government has introduced a new safety directive dubbed No Life Jacket, No Journey, aimed at reducing rising number of boat accidents on Ghana's inland waters and coastal transport routes.
The government has rolled out a fresh safety enforcement policy requiring all passengers and operators of water transport to wear life jackets before embarking on any journey. The initiative, known as No Life Jacket, No Journey, is designed to strengthen safety compliance and reduce fatalities linked to boat capsizing incidents on rivers, lakes, and coastal waters. Authorities say the policy will be strictly enforced by transport and maritime regulators in collaboration with local assemblies and community water transport operators. Operators who fail to comply risk sanctions, including suspension of operations and fines. The move comes amid growing concern over recurring boat accidents, often attributed to overloading, poor vessel maintenance, and lack of safety equipment. Maritime safety agencies, including the Ghana Maritime Authority, GMA, say the policy forms part of a broader national effort to improve water transport safety standards and protect lives, especially in remote and riverine communities where boats remain a key mode of transport. Public education campaigns are also expected to accompany the rollout, targeting passengers, operators, and fishing communities to ensure full compliance. Authorities say the success of the policy will depend on strict enforcement and public cooperation to make Ghana's waterways safer for all users.
On behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic, I duly launched the Life Jacket Initiative for the use of our people. No life jacket, no traveling initiative duly launched today. Thank you.
Now we move straight away to the Gender Ministry, where the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has launched an investigation into an alleged quality concerns raised over meals served under the school feeding program at the Bulin.
The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has begun probing reports of poor food quality and possible service delivery lapses under the school feeding program in Boaduyili. The investigation follows concerns raised by stakeholders and parents over the nutritional quality, hygiene standards, and consistency of meals served to pupils under the program. Officials say a monitoring team has been dispatched to assess the situation on the ground, engage caterers, school authorities, and community representatives, and verify compliance with approved feeding guidelines. The Ghana School Feeding Program is expected to play a key role in the inquiry as the ministry seeks to determine whether contracted caterers are meeting required standards and contractual obligations. The ministry has assured the public that any caterer or official found to be in a breach of guidelines will face appropriate sanctions, including possible termination of contracts. The school feeding program is designed to improve school attendance, boost nutrition, and support local agriculture, but has faced periodic concerns over funding delays, food quality, and logistical challenges. Authorities say the outcome of the probe will guide further reforms aimed at strengthening oversight and ensuring children receive safe and nutritious meals in schools.
Away from the Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection, a tense standoff unfolded at Afari Military Hospital in the Ashanti region after soldiers reportedly prevented members of the minority caucus in Parliament from inspecting an abandoned health facility.
Tensions flared at the Afari Military Hospital when a delegation of minority members of Parliament attempted to inspect the facility amid concerns over its prolonged abandonment and non-operational status. The MPs, who were on a fact-finding visit, sought to assess the state of the hospital and gather first-hand information on challenges delaying its completion and full utilization. However, military personnel stationed at the facility reportedly denied them access, leading to a brief confrontation. The minority caucus expressed concern over the development, arguing that Parliament has an oversight responsibility to monitor public projects and ensure accountability in the use of state resources. On the other hand, military authorities are reported to have cited security and administrative protocols as reasons for restricting access to the facility. The Afari Military Hospital, located near Kumasi, has attracted public attention in recent years due to concerns about delays in operationalizing the project despite substantial investment. The incident has reignited debate over transparency, parliamentary oversight, and the status of major public infrastructure projects across the country. Stakeholders are expected to seek clarity on the circumstances surrounding the incident as calls grow for a resolution that balances national security considerations with public accountability.
MC Sebi, yes. The MC has come to threaten her.
So who gave you the authority?
But at the end of the day, I'm working for you.
You're not working for anybody.
So you're not working for anybody. Do they ask permission? Did you see us copying them? We are doing it for Ghana, not us. Officer,
why is he doing this?
Yeah, for you.
Don't bring us up.
No, there is no.
Don't go back.
That is why we are going back.
Yeah, for the defense ministry.
When there's an emergency, do you ask permission?
No, defense ministry.
Members of parliament should ask permission from you. You have a minister.
Don't ask me that.
Don't ask me that. Your project ongoing. We came here. Yebahas 2024. We came here. Yebahas. Yes. Brother, emergency situation that people are being turned and people are dying. You want it to affect my family member or yours before you see the citizens' action. When you are not acting, the citizens act. So they should act and bring confidence so we will not do these things. Nobody says these things are right, but it is necessary to put pressure on government. It's a tool for demonstration. It's a tool to express your feeling because Ashanti matters. They are doing new structures elsewhere. And we are saying that as an MP, we should treat every region equal. So just as other regions matter, Ashanti also matters. Matters here. That's it.
Now let's move away from the Afari Military Hospital, the health facility. We go to the Supreme Court, where it's set to deliver a ruling on July 29th in a case challenging the prosecutorial powers of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, a decision that could have significant implications for Ghana's anti-corruption framework.
The Supreme Court of Ghana has scheduled July 29 to deliver judgment in a suit filed by Noah Adamte, challenging the prosecutorial authority of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The case raises constitutional questions about the powers granted to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, particularly its authority to independently investigate and prosecute corruption-related offences. The plaintiff argues that certain provisions governing the office's prosecutorial mandate may be inconsistent with the Constitution, while supporters of the Special Prosecutor maintain that the institution's powers are essential for the effective fight against corruption. The outcome of the case is being closely watched by legal practitioners, civil society groups, and governance experts, as it could influence the future operations and independence of the anti-corruption body. The Office of the Special Prosecutor was established to investigate and prosecute corruption and corruption-related offences involving public officers and politically exposed persons. The Supreme Court's decision on July 29 is expected to provide clarity on the constitutional scope of the Special Prosecutor's powers and could shape the future of anti-corruption enforcement in Ghana.
In other news, the Minister for Communications announced plans for a national conference aimed at tackling the growing concerns over indiscipline in schools and identifying sustainable solutions to promote student behavior.
The Minister for Education, Haruna Idrisu, has revealed that a national conference on school discipline will be convened to address increasing reports of misconduct and behavioral challenges in educational institutions across the country. According to the minister, the conference will bring together key stakeholders, including education experts, teachers, parents, religious leaders, students, and policymakers to examine the root causes of indiscipline and recommend practical interventions. The initiative follows growing public concern over incidents of violence, bullying, drug abuse, vandalism, and other forms of misconduct reported in some schools. The conference is expected to review existing disciplinary policies, guidance and counseling systems, and the role of parents and communities in shaping students' behavior. The Ministry of Education says the goal is to develop a comprehensive national strategy that balances discipline with students' rights, welfare, and academic development. Education stakeholders have welcomed the move, emphasizing the need for a collective response to challenges that affect teaching, learning, and the overall school environment. The conference is expected to provide a roadmap for strengthening discipline in schools while promoting a safe, supportive, and productive learning environment for students across Ghana.
The major problems we will deal with this year, 2026, will be stemming the growing indiscipline in our schools, particularly at the secondary education level. We expect to hold a national conference in Kumasi on or before the end of July, where we expect that educators, academia, the church, moral society, the Muslim community and chiefs and parents, regional and district directors of education and headmistresses will converge in Kumasi or Sunyani, depending upon what emerges as appropriate venue to deal with stemming the growing indiscipline in our schools. We have always maintained that parenting is a shared responsibility of the significant other of father and mother, and then the teacher. But we are losing many of it, no thanks to social media, which has become a toxic source of mis and disinformation, and many young people relying on it. But when we meet, I'm sure we'll take lessons from those educationists as to how to deal with it. But it must begin with responsible parenting and responsible teaching. I should thank the Member of Parliament for joining us this morning.
And that takes us straight to the world of commercials. When we return, we'll bring you the business news with Farah Ayer.
Let me introduce you to Farm Global Company Limited. At Farm Global, we offer you variety of groceries and provisions to choose from. Cosmetics, perfume, bed sheets, undies, boxes, you can mention all. This is our perfume stand, and we have variety of perfumes you can choose from for yourself and your loved ones. We cover Latapa, fragrance notes, and quality perfumes that will last long on your body. On our cosmetic section, we have variety of lotions, creams, hair pomade that can keep you going. Let your feet do the talking and your hand do the showcasing. Your babies are not left out. We got you covered. At Farm Global, we make shopping a beautiful experience for you and your family. You can be at home, send your list and get it delivered for free. Yes, for free. We know you can pay for it, but we want to show appreciation. We bring everything to you at your doorstep. Locate Farm Global on the Lungwa Boade Road, just opposite Redeemer Chemist. Call us on 0592 0999 52 or 050 384 3633. Farm Global, fast, reliable and convenient.
Hi, welcome to Shiloh Guest House, where comfort meets warmth. Our serene environment and cozy rooms provides a pleasant stay. To book a room with us, call 055 5940103 and 0241 972076. Locate us at Teshinungwa Estate, number 8 Coconut Street, directly behind A Life Supermarket. Shiloh Guest House, where comfort meets warmth.
Now in business, the Ghana Statistical Service says it is working towards a mid-2027 rollout of its rebased gross domestic product and inflation data in a move aimed at updating the country's economic indicators to reflect current realities.
The Ghana Statistical Service has announced plan to complete the released rebased GDP and inflation figures by mid-2027. The exercise forms part of efforts to modernize Ghana's national accounts and ensure that key economic data accurately captures change in the structure of the economy over time. According to the service, rebasing will involve updating the base year used for calculating GDP and price indices, incorporating new and emerging sectors that have grown significantly in recent years. This is expected to improve the accuracy of economic measurements and provide governments, investors, and development partners with more reliable data for decision making. Officials indicate that the process is currently at the preparatory stage, including data collection, validation, and methodological reviews in line with international statistical standards. Once completed, the revised figures are expected to offer a clearer picture of Ghana's economic size, inflation trends, and sectorial contributions. The Ghana Statistical Service says it remains committed to transparency and technical accuracy as it undertakes the exercise, which is considered critical for economic planning and policy formulation. The rebasing exercise is expected to be one of the most significant updates to Ghana's economic data in recent years.
Also in business, Ghana's export sector has recorded a strong performance with total export earnings rising to 30.7%, driven largely by a historic surge in non-traditional exports, which have now exceeded $5 billion mark.
Ghana's export earnings have posted a significant increase, climbing by 30.7% in the latest reporting period, according to trade performance updates. A major driver of the growth is the strong performance of non-traditional exports, which have for the first time surpassed the 5 billion threshold. These exports include processed and semi-processed goods such as cocoa, derivatives, shea products, textiles, handicrafts, horticultural produce, and light manufactured goods. Ghana Export Promotion Authority says
The milestone reflects ongoing efforts to divest Ghana's export base beyond traditional commodities like gold, cocoa, and oil. Officials note that improved global demand, expanded market access agreements, and increased participation of local exporters contributed to the upward trend. The authorities also highlighted enhanced value addition and support programs for small and medium-sized exporters as key factors behind the growth. The overall export performance is expected to strengthen Ghana's foreign exchange, earning and support macroeconomic stability, even as stakeholders call for sustained investment in production capacity, logistics, and export financing. The latest figures signal growing momentum in Ghana's drive to diversify its economy and deepen participation in global trade markets.
And that's all for the business news. Up next is sports and entertainment with Wendy Latte.
Jasuni from Ejahima Saupa MBN Jasua from 0245 88 2128 MBN Jasu coming home na yendi eja at the right place.
And now on the sports desk, the Trump administration says Omar Attan was denied entry into the United States due to concerns over alleged links to terrorist organizations, citing national security considerations.
The administration of U.S. President Donald Trump has stated that Omar Attan was refused entry into the United States because of what officials describe as connection to individuals or groups associated with terrorism. According to administration officials, the decision was taken following security assessments and immigration screening procedures aimed at protecting national security. Authorities maintain that the United States reserves the right to deny entry to individuals deemed to pose potential security risk. The case has drawn public and legal attention, with questions being raised about the evidence supporting the allegations and the procedures used in reaching the decision. U.S. officials have not publicly disclosed the full details of the intelligence or information underpinning the determination, citing security and confidentiality concerns. The development comes amid ongoing debate over immigration policies, border security, and the balance between national security measures and individual rights. The administration insists the decision was based on security considerations, while observers say the case is likely to attract continuous scrutiny as more details emerge.
And away from sports, we dive into the entertainment news, where the government has released 5 million Ghana cedis as the first tranche of a 20 million Ghana cedis budgetary allocation, earmarked for the development and growth of Ghana's film industry.
The
The government has disbursed 5 million Ghana cedis from the 20 million Ghana cedis allocated in the national budget to support Ghana's film sector. The funding is expected to boost film production, strengthen industry capacity, create employment opportunities, and enhance the global competitiveness of Ghanaian films. Officials say the release marks the beginning of efforts to revitalize the creative arts industry, which stakeholders have long argued requires sustained financial support and investment. The fund is expected to support filmmakers, producers, directors, and other industry players through initiatives aimed at improving production quality, training, distribution, and access to modern filmmaking equipment. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts says mechanisms are being put in place to ensure transparency and accountability in the disbursement and the utilization of the funds. Industry stakeholders have welcomed the release, describing it as a positive step toward addressing long-standing challenges, including limited financing, inadequate infrastructure, and restricted access to international markets. The remaining 15 million Ghana cedis is expected to be released in phases as government seeks to strengthen the creative economy and position Ghana's film industry for sustained growth.
That's all for today on the sports and entertainment news. Up next is the international news.
On the international front, we move straight to South Africa, where the police have launched a major manhunt after 12 people were killed and 9 others injured in a mass shooting at an informal settlement in Johannesburg. Authorities searching for more than 10 suspects believed to be behind the attack.
Police in South Africa are hunting for a group of heavily armed gunmen following a deadly mass shooting in the Cleveland area of Johannesburg. According to police, more than 10 suspects arrived in a white Toyota Quantum minibus at the Jumpers informal settlement late Tuesday night. The attackers reportedly entered the settlement through multiple access points and opened fire at several locations before fleeing the scene in the same vehicle. Authorities say 12 people were killed in the attack, while at least 9 others sustained gunshot wounds and were transported to hospital for treatment. The victims include both men and women. Police have yet to establish a motive for the shooting, but investigators are exploring all possible leads. Some reports suggest the attack may be linked to criminal activities and illegal mining operations that have long plagued parts of Johannesburg. The incident is the latest in a series of mass shootings that have raised concerns about violent crime in South Africa, which continues to record one of the highest murder rates in the world. As investigations continue, police are appealing to the public for information that could lead to the arrest of the suspects, while families of the victims await answers following one of Johannesburg's deadliest attacks.
I would say it is still early to can confirm the issues of illegal mining, but of course we cannot overrule that because I've seen some of the victims. There were, I think, 1 or 2 or 3, some of the victims where they were lying. It looks like it's this a place of the processing center for illegal mining, so one could not overrule that. But as I've indicated earlier, that we were here 3 weeks back through the intelligence-led operation where we got over 1,000, live ammunitions of the AK-47. And we also managed to get 3 pistol, 3 suspects. Added to that, I think we had not less than 6 illegal immigrants, which we have effected arrest.
Jumpers informal settlement is located near several known illegal mining sites. At least 12 people were injured in the shooting that has left residents in shock.
Away from South Africa, we move to Latin America, where rising crime and years of political instability have emerged as defining issues in Peru. Closely contested presidential election with voters deeply concerned about security, governance, and economic uncertainty.
Peruvians are voting in one of the closest presidential contests in the country's recent history, with insecurity and political instability dominating the national conversation. The runoff pits conservative candidate Keiko Fujimori against leftist contender Roberto Sanchez, with both candidates locked in a razor-thin race that may take weeks to be officially decided. For many voters, the election is less about ideology and more about finding solutions to worsening security concerns. Rising levels of extortion, organized crime, and illegal mining activities have heightened fears across the country, making law and order a top priority for the electorate. Political instability has also weighed heavily on voters. Peru has cycled through multiple presidents over the past decade, with repeated impeachments, corruption scandals, and clashes between the executive and legislature eroding public confidence in state institutions. Analysts say the next president will inherit a deeply divided nation and a fragmented Congress, making governance a significant challenge regardless of who emerges victorious. With the margin between the candidates remaining extremely narrow, election authorities have urged patience as outstanding ballots continue to be processed and reviewed, strengthen security, and rebuild trust in democratic institutions after years of political turbulence.